Rightio, kids' bedrooms. What do you need to know about you before you talk to your designer and architect around the kids' bedrooms? Going to throw guest rooms into this one as well. Kids' rooms are a space that needs to morph. It's a space that needs to expand and mould as the child grows, because as we all know who've had children, these spaces, they've got to go through a lot. They are treated somewhat roughly by the kids, and they've got to just, every 6 months there's a new interest, there's new toys, there's new sports, there's there's different friends coming in. These spaces need to be really effective. A lot of homes work on the theory that children have a single bed. What I've noticed over the years I've been designing is younger and younger kids are moving to double beds if they've got the space, or a queen. And I'm talking as young as 10. The kids are moving to these bigger beds. I'm not saying that that's what needs to happen. I'm just saying the space needs to cope with the change. So things to ask yourself, things to know about yourself with kids' rooms is, how do I put this? Are the kids' rooms their focus of space, or do your kids come out to the living areas? Now that will change as well. When they're young, they're going to be much more around where the adults are. As they get older and morph into the teenage years, they're going to withdraw to their space. So if you're getting a house built now that you believe will operate from young children through to teenagers, get it ready for the teenagers now in terms of PowerPoints, in terms of space, in terms of some of the functions that a teenager is going to appreciate. But allow it to be a space for a younger kid, because there's a lot of stuff with younger children that needs to be considered. Their clothes are a lot smaller, they take up a lot less space. Teenagers' clothes take up adult space. So that storage facility is going to have to change. So how do you want that storage facility to morph with your family? Do your children play a number of sports? Do they have lots of equipment? Does that live in the shed? Does it live in the laundry? Does it live in the entry? Does it live in the bedroom? If so, where? Where in the bedroom is it going to live? Do you have a child who's a musician? What instruments? If it's an electric keyboard, does that go in the bedroom? Does it go in like a rumpus room or something like that? If it's a guitar, that guitar could get carried all around the house, but at some point it's got to have somewhere to live. If it's things like woodwind, brass, they'll generally have a case. Where's the case go when the instrument's being used? Where do they practice their music? That one's a really important one. If you've got kids with a drum set and you don't want that going through the whole house, then you may consider that going in the bedroom and soundproofing the bedroom. Do your kids have a lot of friends over, sleepovers? Now that goes right through until they move out of home. So a sleepover when the kids are 5 is, you might just whack them in the same bed, end to end, feet to feet in the same bed. You can have a roll-out mattress, that sort of thing. A sleepover when they're 18, that's an entirely different kettle of fish, because they may still sleep feet to feet. It's just their feet are in each other's faces. They may come home, at 18, 19, they've just left high school, they're at uni, they may come home or something like that with 3 mates who've all had a few drinks. Is your house the sort of house that accommodates this? And then where are those bodies going? Because pretty sure you're not going to want to wake up and they're lazing in the middle of the lounge room, taking up the lounges and, rumpus room, bedroom, that sort of thing. So does that happen? Do you want a desk space in your kids' rooms? Younger kids tend to drift out to where the adults are, and a lot of people want to watch their kids do their homework to make sure they're getting it done. As those kids get older, that will move into the bedroom space. So you're going to want that bedroom space to cope with that transition of being with the parents and doing everything and not wanting to be with the parents to do stuff. And that's just a natural transition to a certain extent as the kids get more independent. But you need the space to cope with that. Again, if there's waterbeds involved, tell your designer about it. And do you want TV? Do you want media? Do you want all of that sort of stuff in your kids' rooms? You need to think about those sorts of things. Do you want, I just completely lost that. Do you want the rooms to have external access? Do you want the rooms to have external access? A lot of main bedrooms, and I didn't cover that before, a lot of people would like an external access to a nice courtyard, a deck, those sorts of things. Do you want that same facility for the kids' rooms? A lot of people don't. Some people do. Just something to think about. Now, a guest room as well. This guest room, there tends to be, a lot of guest rooms just have a bed, a couple of bedside tables and a wardrobe, and then it's just left empty and you have to clean it. I'm much more of a fan of a multi-purpose room than a guest room. But if you're going to have a space specifically for guests, how big's the bed? Once again, bedside tables and stuff like that. If your guests are temporary guests, then consider making it a multi-use space. Consider combining, an office with a guest room. If your guests come for a week every month, that may not work for you. How often are your guests coming? Ask yourself that. A lot of people want a guest room, but when you quiz them further, they might only have guests twice a year for a weekend. Do you really want to pay for that entire guest room if it's only going to be used twice a year? And the rest of the time you're cleaning it, you've paid to decorate it, it's going to age just like the rest of the house. Ask yourself how often you actually use a guest room. And if you, a number of times too, I've had people who are moving a bit further away going, we're going to have guests visit all the time. Generally, that's not actually a reality. So really, really think about it. Think about it, and that sounded a little harsh, but it's actually from experience talking to people with, we do guest rooms and things like that, and then you see them later and they go, never use it, it's now storage space. Do you end up just dumping? If you've got a current guest room, do you just use it as a dump zone for everything else that's got nowhere to go? If that's the case, tell your designer, because what you really need is better storage through the house. You don't need a whole other room, you just need better storage. So guest rooms are fairly easy. So the next thing we're going to have a talk about is bathrooms and en-suites. So this one's a big one because a lot of people renovate bathrooms and en-suites without having to, engage full designers and all of that sort of stuff. So next one's bathrooms and en-suites. Tag people, share this around. We'll talk to you soon.